Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. All right, here we are on August the 8th in the year of our Lord 2025. That would be 8/8/25. So I have some great information for you tonight. Let's go ahead and jump over here, Murtech on Rumble. This is the video you're watching right now, my episode 1648. Let's go ahead and get into this and on Rumble and close the chat box. Let me slide down here and click the Show More button to expand the description box. And right here we have Awaken with JP, Benny Johnson, Dr. Steve Turley, and Vince Dow. But before we get into this, I do want to give a shout out, a lot of shout outs actually, to Connie Dukin, just started following my channel. Resource 48 just started following my channel. 0906 Dur just started following my channel. 0 to Zen just started following my channel. Shalom Kolatorov Stories just started following my channel. And also I got the notice that Shalom Kolatorov Stories just started following you. So I'm not sure what the difference is between following my channel and following me. I thought, when you click the follow button, it's, you follow the channel. But at any rate, VT Girl 1969 just started following my channel. Mech Jr. 59 just started following my channel. B Harp 24 just started following my channel. And Marjo 746 just started following my channel. And Paul E. Danielson just started following my channel. So, folks, thank you very much for following my channel. Oh, let me get this down here. Here we go. Thank you so much for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content. Look at that, folks. That's, that might be a record for the number of people that have followed me in one day. And I think it's because of the Rumble Studio program that I'm using, that they are actually promoting my information out so that more people can hear the no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth that I promote. Okay, also Debbie BS commented on my extra 431A with Megan Kelly, and Debbie BS also commented on my extra 432A for Megan Kelly. So let me give this a thumbs up. Watch how easy this is. 3, 2, 1, boom. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I have one of those thumbs up buttons right here just below the video. If you could scroll down and click that thumbs up button, that would be fantastic. Okay, let's get into this. Awaken with JP, white liberal women at their best. His news update, which is We Lie to You News. That's his news segment, Lies You Can Trust. So let's jump into this and see what he's talking about.
Here's the state of play. Here's the
MSNBC sucks.
Hey, how are you?
MSNBC sucks. MSNBC sucks.
Okay.
See the frustration.
Sometimes this happens.
MSNBC sucks. Well, that was pretty good. Good evening and welcome to We Lie to You News. Tonight's top stories that have nothing to do with you but will make your life worse because you're interested in them. The Coldplay Kiss Cam CEO is back in the news. Liberals completely lose their sanity about Sydney Sweeney while Trump endorses her. And you'll see a woman getting run over by a bull. But starting with, just when astronomer CEO Andy Byron, who was caught having an affair on the Coldplay Kiss Cam and seen billions of times, thought his 15 minutes of fame was over, luckily for everyone but him, it's now extended. It's rumored that his wife has leaked screenshots from a messaging app that show him messaging with OnlyFans creator / prostitute Sophie Rain. The screenshots allege that he paid Sophie $40,000 for private services. But he didn't stop there, as he allegedly shelled out a total of $250,000 to other OnlyFans creators as well. We reached out to his Kiss Cam mistress to see how it feels to have him cheat on the woman that he's cheating with. but she's yet to return our calls for some reason. Nonetheless, having to discover that he was shelling out huge sums of money to OnlyFans girls, we suspect that Andy Byron is grateful for the extra exposure he's getting. Moving along. In light of the Sydney Sweeney controversial ad where she appears racistly hot, here's what President Trump had to say when he was informed that she's a registered Republican.
She's a registered Republican? Oh, now I love her ad.
And American Eagle stands by their ad, refusing to apologize, which we don't like. Meanwhile, on the Sydney Sweeney issue, the good mental health of liberals continues.
Trying to calm myself, but that would,
Expertly said. Let's hear more.
Comparing the blue jeans to blue jeans, blue blood, white hair,
You heard it from the pink-haired lady. Those blue-blooded racist whites in blue jeans are really bad. Here's another.
Committing to kicking out Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and RFK Jr.
That would be an insurrection she's talking about, but the good kind of insurrection. These liberal white women standing up against Sydney Sweeney for being white were at a rally in Minnesota that was, oddly, only attended by white people, with the one exception being the Asian reporter interviewing them, who is a conservative. The whites at this rally took part in a rage expression exercise that had them beating the hell out of watermelons. All right. What is the meaning of whites at an all-white rally choosing watermelons to ragefully beat? We don't know, but it sure looked like a sensible stand against racism to me. In other news, is being on your phone too much bad for your health? Well, some researchers are saying yes, as they've been conducting studies that suggest looking at your phone too much could result in you getting run over by a bull, which is bad for your health. Research shows that not being on your phone could also result in you getting run over by a bull. So you might want to be careful out there. Now, if you're having a bad day, just remind yourself that at least you're not Alec Baldwin getting publicly humiliated by his wife once again. And at least you didn't accidentally shoot and kill a guy either. Meanwhile, this man in the UK lost $950 million worth of Bitcoin. In 2013, he mistakenly threw away a hard drive that held 8,000 Bitcoin on it. He then spent the next 10 years of his life searching the landfill for the hard drive. Yet he's finally calling it quits, giving up. It might be a hard pill for him to swallow, given that he lost nearly $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, but at least he also lost 10 years of his life in a landfill, unsuccessfully searching for it. And no matter how bad your day might be going, at least you're not him. That's it for tonight's news. Oh, by the way, here's Alex Stein making an unconventional argument for why trans should be allowed in the military.
The suicide rate is incredibly high among transgender people, so we could just use them like the Taliban has suicide bombers. Maybe you guys can actually, if you commit suicide, actually help us in the battlefield. So that would be good. So I think we need transgenders in the military.
Weirdly, it kind of makes sense. Good night.
All right. We Lie to You News. You never want to miss it. Lies, those are lies you can trust, okay? Let me go ahead and click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Awaken with JP. Oh, there we go. Let me get this back here. Awaken with JP. I'm following his channel, giving him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's get back here and move on. No nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth, folks. That's what I'm trying to promote here. Unfortunately, that didn't necessarily go along with the program, but it does a reflection of how the mainstream media tries to feed you the propaganda that they are feeding you. All right, Benny Johnson, U.S. Intelligence Chief Tulsi Gabbard asked about UFOs. Her shocking answer breaks internet. Okay, let's check this out.
Skyfall, psyops, nighttime terror, alien codes from distant mirror, satellites burning in the sky. Secrets fall but never die.
What's up, guys? Benny. There was so much happening in the 2024 election, it was impossible to keep up, but there was this one time that Donald Trump went on a comedy show on Fox News and decided to tell everybody about the existence of UFOs.
They were in the Oval Office, 3 or 4 pilots.
Talking about
These
these
are not
pilots.
people that make up
Military
stories.
pilots.
He
Okay.
said, all I know, sir, is there was a round object that was going 4 times faster than my F-22, which is a very fast plane. And it wasn't, it shouldn't have been. It was round, sir. They have seen, 4 or 5 guys I've interviewed, solid people, great pilots for the U.S. Air Force, etc. They've seen things that they cannot explain.
Okay, so we've seen in the Trump era, I would argue, a pretty dramatic increase in peculiar flying saucer-like videos that hit the feed. Every once in a while, we'll see them. If we're interested, we'll do a read on it, and we'll just kind of throw it out to the audience. Do I believe that UFOs are real? Absolutely. Do I think that they are aliens visiting our planet? Probably not. Do I think that the government will take advantage of a UFO during the Trump era to try and bring about, I don't know, one world government or globalism? Absolutely. I think that that's already in the plans. I think there's already documents that you can see with Project Bluebeam, for instance, where they're going to attempt to do that. The point is that you have seen quite a bit of this, and now you hear reports of a flying saucer heading towards Earth, a massive object that scientists are detecting that's flying towards Earth. Some of the best UFO experts on the internet have predicted this. Will it be used as a distraction device? I don't know, man. The Tic Tac, UAP, all of these different videos that have been released by the U.S. military. It always makes me interested. Why are they releasing these videos? Like, all of it is very curious. Clearly, the government knows more about UFOs than they're letting on. And the person who would perhaps be the very tip top of all of that would be Tulsi Gabbard, who's in charge of national intelligence, right? So all of these agencies would answer to her. And if a UFO were to zoom over the top of America or land, you'd assume the director of national intelligence would be maybe the first person to greet the aliens or something like that, right? Well, Tulsi Gabbard was asked about this on a recent podcast. Gabbard revealed that she believes that aliens exist and towed the line between sharing her own opinions and avoiding revealing U.S. intelligence secrets. Director of National Intelligence says she's privy to a lot of classified information, a role she has to be careful what she brings to life. Interesting. Speaking on Miranda Devine's podcast, she says, I have my own views and opinions. In this role, I have to be careful with what I share. When pressed on whether she personally believes in UFOs, Gabbard says yes. The issues of aliens and UFOs identified have been at the center of many conspiracy theories and so on. Last year, the House Oversight Subcommittee held multiple hearings on the UFO issue. Gabbard noted that her office does not have anything concrete that they are prepared to talk about right now with UFOs.
There's been a lot of...
My husband is in the corner, for the record, pumping his fist right now that you're asking this question.
So, is there anything... We've had some declassification of some very strange videos that look like they are, unidentified flying objects. Is there anything in the files that you think you could find or you have found?
Nothing that I'm prepared to talk about today. We are I'm just going to say this. We're continuing to look for the truth and share that truth with the American people.
The truth is out there.
Yes, it is.
So do you believe that there could be aliens?
I honestly, like, my personal belief. I have my own views and opinions.
Right.
In this role, I got to be careful with what I share.
Very interesting.
and I'm laughing. My husband's laughing in the corner because we have these same conversations, and obviously I don't share any classified information outside of my building with those who have clearances. But this is fun that he's here to watch this right now.
Okay, so a little cagey, but there is something that was very strange from this interview that also popped up about the drone issue. Now, you will remember, of course, when there were drones all over New Jersey. And we never got an answer to that. We were just told, shut up, move along. That's what we were told. Don't worry, it's a government experiment. That's what they told us. And it's like, move along. Tulsi Gabbard says there's a lot of questions about the New Jersey drones. Well, what is that? She says she has to be careful about what she shares since she oversees the 18 U.S. intelligence agencies and what she's allowed to talk about. But she does say that there is a major problem with all of the drones over New Jersey. Gabbard said that she still has unanswered question about the flurry of drones zipping over New Jersey homes. Strange phenomenon that absolutely is real. And we had a bunch of people on our program, very prestigious people, mayors, town councilors, elected officials that were on our program with their own videos from the tops of their homes. They were sharing exclusive videos with our show about these crazy ass lights that were over their homes. So a lot of the drones looked like this. Big blinking lights. Anyway, officials from both Trump and Biden administrations were adamant that the objects were a combination of lawful people and government aircraft. I still have a lot of questions about that, says Gabbard. I've heard what the public official line is. I just personally still have a lot of questions that are unanswered because it wasn't just New Jersey. It was happening all over in different parts of the country. Skeptics had alleged that the sightings of satellites, planes, and some other cases were lumped into the drone frenzy, but Gabbard says the U.S. intelligence community has a lot of solid information. The suspected Chinese spy balloon floated across the United States, and that it wasn't that. There's a lot of classified information on that, she says, declining to elaborate. President Joe Biden ordered the balloon shot down once it had gathered up all of our military information. This is very interesting. So here's Tulsi Gabbard on the drone sightings in New Jersey, something we haven't talked about in a while.
And the New Jersey, the strange objects over New Jersey were drones.
I still have a lot of questions around that.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard what the public official line is. I just personally still have a lot of questions that are unanswered.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just New Jersey. It was happening in different parts of the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. And we had the Chinese spy balloon. I mean, who knows what the Chinese could be sending over?
Yeah, there's a lot of classified information about that.
At the exact same time, pretty interesting. Good people with insider knowledge don't promote fear of UFOs because there's nothing fearful about disclosure. Tulsi is in a position to assist with UFO disclosure and indicates that she will. J.D. Vance on UFOs.
Thing is, there are stories that I am particularly focused on, in part just because you talk with your buddies about it. Like, I'm obsessed with the whole UFO thing. What's actually going on? What were those videos all about? What's actually happening? I haven't gotten to the bottom of it yet, but we're only 6 months in. We've been very busy. That's actually the August recess is in part me going to try to dive to the bottom of the whole UFO thing from last year. So
I mean, you got to have us back.
Okay, I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Trump speaks up about UFO drones. He looks away, does not even make eye contact, and said he'd love to tell her, but it's not up to. It's very obvious he knows that it's not up to him. Trump, like all presidents, is definitely not in control. Drone Gate seemed to be a mix of non-human and deep state aircraft. I don't know if we'll ever know the truth. Here's President Trump's answer on Drone Gate.
I wanted to ask you about drones. You know, we had the issue in New Jersey before the election where there are all these people thought UFOs or an attack of the killer drones. And I believe you're doing something about.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, I know I can't tell you who it was and what it was, but I can't really tell you. I'd love to tell you actually, but it's not a big deal.
It's not something frightening.
No, but I just, so obviously it's something that I know about, and it's not a problem at all.
It was legal.
Oh yeah, that was legal.
So we have had some very interesting congressional testimony on this. Matt Gaetz has obviously said that they've confirmed that the government has mountains of evidence, physical evidence on UFOs. Anna Paulina says Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been a huge advocate for declassification. Guess we'll see. Very interesting. It's like very, very interesting, like what was happening in New Jersey. There's like a whole, look at this Wikipedia page on it. The sightings were all over the nation. And then they just stopped, just like that. Poof, gone, disappeared. Had to get all the drones. It had to do whatever they were doing. They did it right before Trump took office. Now the Trump administration is kind of telling us about it. I know it's pretty low on the list. There's a lot of things I want to know about. And I know that this also isn't something that has the opportunity to be a massive psyop for all of us. Hey, look over here, distraction. Oh look, jangle the keys. But something's going on. That New Jersey thing radicalized me. Bad. Something's going on. Stay tuned here. At least we'll talk about it. Let me know in the comments what you think is going on.
All right, there you have it, folks. Nothing to see here. Okay, let's jump over here, click on the Rumble link, and show you that this video does come from Benny Johnson. I am following the channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's come back here to our layout here and see what Dr. Steve Turley has to say about breaking Trump's new bombshell just changed everything. Well, I wonder what that's all about. Let's go ahead and click on that and see what he has to say. Let me get it back to the beginning for you.
President Trump has just signed an executive order that will wipe out overnight literally millions off the political map. It's just been announced that President Trump has officially ordered the Census Bureau to conduct a brand new mid-decade census that completely erases illegal migrants from America's power calculations. Do you want to take a guess at what that means? It means the entire balance of Congress could tilt, permanently cementing the Republican majority and leaving Democrats reeling for generations. You're about to find out why this move is a total, absolute game changer that promises to realign political power in our nation like never before. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor. And as I like to say, I'm here to give you a front row seat on how you are changing the world like never before. But never has that been more true than today. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Unbelievable. That's the only word that can describe the action that President Trump just announced he's taking as of today, August 7th. President Trump has officially directed the Commerce Department to start work on a new, highly accurate census using data from the 2024 election, which explicitly omits so-called undocumented migrants. Now, as you know, during his first term, Trump tried to get a citizenship question included on the upcoming 2020 census. The Supreme Court blocked that effort. But now with a second term and stronger conservative momentum, he's pressing forward, effectively reasserting the notion that only American citizens count in a U.S. census, especially one that apportions congressional seats and electoral votes.
Now, just to give you a little more detail on that, yes, the Supreme Court did block that, but that was because there's a certain amount of time that has to be allotted for the questionnaires to be filled out and mailed out. I mean, there was a deadline there. Well, it had gone past the deadline. They could not reprint the ballots and get them ready to be sent out. So they say that was told to the Supreme Court by the deep state that was arguing, no, we can't change the ballots. No, we can't change the ballots. We don't have time. So that's why the Supreme Court ruled against changing the ballots and putting one question on it. I mean, this went for months, actually. But just to give you a little more background on it, the Supreme Court did botch the idea of putting the question on, but because they were told that there was a deadline that they couldn't meet if they had to reprint all the ballots. That's the story that I got.
Just to be clear, congressional seats and electoral college votes are apportioned based on population. Now, unfortunately, the way that's been done in the past is that everyone under the sun is counted, citizens or not. That's how major blue states, especially California, New York, Illinois, have held on to outsized influence, thanks in part to millions of undocumented residents, illegal migrants, boosting their numbers. Again, the irony here is that these millions upon millions of people who should not be here, they are not legally recognized residents. Nevertheless, they are being counted in a census that apportions congressional seats and electoral votes in accordance with U.S. law. So here are lawless people being counted in apportionment for lawmakers. And so this new order, by excluding people in the country unlawfully, Trump's census would drastically cut representation for states that currently benefit from higher illegal migrant populations. The upshot, conservative red states stand to gain seats and electoral votes, all the while Democrat blue states lose. And here's the jaw dropper. Analysis from major redistricting experts in recent projections suggests removing non-citizens from the census could shift literally dozens of seats from traditionally blue states to red states. California alone would lose 4 House seats. New York would lose 2. Illinois would lose 2. But red states like Texas, Florida, Montana, they'd all gain seats. Texas would gain 4, Florida would gain 4, Montana gains 1, Idaho gains 1. There are a whole other number of red states that all gain seats. So we're looking at Republicans gaining upwards about 14 seats, blue states losing that comparable number, making it virtually impossible for Democrats to retake the House for the foreseeable future. I mean, California would drop from 52 seats to 48, their lowest representation in modern political history. Meanwhile, states like Texas would jump to 39 seats, Florida to 29 seats, and the deep red South will have collectively upwards of around 164 House seats, which is the most seats they've ever had in our nation's history. And the upshot is, when you translate that into electoral college votes, the Democrat strategy of winning the blue wall states, right, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, it'll no longer be enough for them to reach 270 electoral votes. Even if Democrats swept Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, so-called blue wall states, they still fall short of 270. Remember, with this new census coming in that President Trump is ordering, were the 2024 election held after that new census, Trump would end up winning with like nearly 330 electoral votes. He'd win all those states that he won that gave him 312. Now he'd be winning more around 330. The Republican lock on the Electoral College will be nearly unbreakable. But it gets even better. As things stand with this new census, the blue wall states themselves look like they're about to turn permanently red. You're not going to believe this. But first, gang, I need not tell you that so much of what passes for journalism today is little more than politically charged activism with a headline slapped onto it, right? Truth gets constantly buried under layers of spin, agenda, and algorithm-driven narratives. That's why I turn to ground news.
Okay, he's going to a ground news commercial. If you want to see this commercial, the link to his video is in the description box below. So by all means, go ahead and click.
Ground.news/Steve. Now, obviously, the legacy media and Democrat governors and congressmen, politicians are already weeping and gnashing their teeth over this. And of course, they're all screaming that this is an assault on democracy. Think about that. Note that. The very party that is currently skipping town in Texas to shut down the legislative process there is screaming about assaults on democracy. But we all know what they're really freaking out over. We all know that. I mean, for years, these same politicians have inordinately benefited from America's broken census rules, picking up seats, electoral power, and yes, even federal dollars, often at the expense of states with smaller but legal populations. Now, with Trump flipping the script, that political power is being threatened, and threatened permanently. This has nothing at all to do with democracy. It has everything to do with ending the Democrats' power. That is what they are freaking out over. And again, not just ending it for a time, ending it for the foreseeable future. And of course, it's happening at the very same time that red states across the country, you know this, they're all redistricting to give the GOP upwards of nearly 20 new solid red seats for the midterms. And on top of that, the Supreme Court just announced they're about to strike down racially segregated congressional districts, which would wipe out overnight another 20 or so Democrat seats. This is exactly how we need to fight, gang. This is why I love President Trump so much. He just hits, it's full court press. No one keeps the Democrats on their heels, on the defensive like Trump. He is constantly going on the offense, causing the Democrats to reel and squeal and freak out for all the nation to see. How do you run a country? How do you win an election when you're always just in a hysteria? The Democrats and the legacy media know that with the 2026 midterms in sight, even just a slight shift of a couple of seats could lock Democrats out of the speaker's chair for a decade or more. In one move, think about this. Again, just think about the brilliance of this. In one move, Trump is tackling both border security and permanent Republican political power. In one move, something conservative audience, have clamored for since day one. Oh, and it gets even better. With this new census, we can expect the swing states to shift inordinately now to the right. Pennsylvania goes from swing state to lean Republican. Remember, Pennsylvania is the new Ohio. Ohio has moved starkly to the right. Pennsylvania is moving to the right. We should flip Pennsylvania in terms of voter registration from blue to red by the time of the midterms. Florida becomes solid red, akin to Texas. Already happened. Georgia and North Carolina move from toss-ups to likely Republican. And here's the big one. States like Virginia, New Jersey, New Hampshire, Maine, Minnesota, New Mexico, they all become the new swing states. Those become the new toss-ups. The current swing state map all moves lean red, and the lean blue states now all move as toss-ups. That is what they're freaking out over. That. A total and complete political realignment where Democrats are permanently locked out of federal power for generations. Now, of course, the census is going to be challenged in court, but the Supreme Court precedent and constitutional ambiguity mean Trump's move stands a real shot. Remember, the 14th Amendment technically mandates counting the whole number of persons in the census, but Trump's team argues persons there traditionally, right? Historically, persons mean citizens, not those here illegally. It would include children, for example. The founding fathers never, ever intended for illegal aliens to determine American political representation. Period. Full stop, as our borderline illiterate autopen appointed Supreme Court justice would say. That was a long sentence there. Why on earth would states be apportioned electoral votes and representatives for people who can't vote? Ever. Diplomats aren't counted. Ambassadors from other countries aren't counted in the apportionment. Tourists aren't counted in the apportionment. The U.S. Congress represents U.S. citizens alone. So this census reform will finally restore proportionate representation to the actual citizen population, which is great news for red states, horrible news for blue states, and of course, great news for the nation. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. I want to read your comments. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button because this story is just getting started. We are on the cusp of shutting out the Democrats from power permanently. This is what we voted for. This is what winning really looks like. Have you locked in?
Okay, he's going into another commercial, so let me click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Dr. Steve Turley. I'm following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. And folks, I always like to share Dr. Steve Turley. He has great information, a great presenter. He used to be a college professor, a university professor, so he has no problem talking in front of people, but great stuff. Now, before we move on, I want to come back here and talk about my chats. Now, I got some chats from Blue Peahen and Debbie BS. And if you remember at the beginning of the live stream, I talked about the number of people that followed me over the last day. I mean, it was like a record number. And the reason that that is important is because here, these are my statistics for my creator program for August 2025. Here we are on the 8th. To be successful in this and for Rumble to promote my videos out, I need 30 hours of live stream studio this month. I've got 23.9. Okay, hours watched this month is 113,000. I need 200 hours. Okay, total unique chatters this month, I've had 14, and I need 20. So, folks, if you haven't given me a chat, please just click on the chat box, put an X in there, or hi, or how you doing, or, tell me what you'd like to see. Also, Rumble Premium exclusive hours, I've got 10.1, and I need 5. Also, for Rumble Studio Host Read campaign, I need 5, and I've got 5. But I'm gonna go ahead and share another host read with you. This one here is pretty important, actually. It's from Chuck Norris. So let me go ahead and get this started.
Hey you, there's this video. It's from Chuck Norris. It was insane. He's in his 80s and says he still feels like he's in his 50s.
It was pretty shocking. He had some pretty cool tips in there too on what he's doing,
including these 3 foods that he avoids like the plague.
He explained all the things he was doing, and it was super simple. They're so easy, and you can do them right at home.
When I first saw this, I knew I had to share this with you all.
Since what happened to Chuck could also happen for you too. But with any new method, of course, your results can vary. But the video is definitely worth checking out. Watch his method now by clicking the link in chat or scanning the QR code on your screen. You won't believe how simple it is.
All right, that was. I thought that was good information. So let's go ahead and move on here with your news from Vince Down. Now he's going to talk a little bit about Trump announces planes sweep midterms. CNN loses it as Trump announces plan to sweep midterms by removing illegals from census. It's just going to be some more information because I think this is great. I think this is very important. I mean, we don't need to have illegal aliens, people from other countries, coming in here and making decisions on our politics. I mean, there are some states, I'm thinking this might change, but there are some states where you can register and vote on the same day. So that makes it possible for people to fly in from who knows where, Russia, Iran, China, North Korea, fly into the United States, register and vote, and then fly back home. You know, maybe they'll spend a week here and have a little vacation on top of that. Is that how we want our elections to run? Let me know in the chat box. But at any rate, let's go ahead and get this started with Vince Dow.
And there's
And
probably
I need to get this back to the beginning for you. Here we go. Hang on. Boop. Here we go.
We know the 2020 census, the errors were almost always to the detriment of red states. Blue states like Rhode
Do we
Island.
know that?
We do know that. The Census Bureau's own audit of its work has proven that.
Kristen, this is just one of so many examples of how the Trump White House, the political arm, and the Trump Republican Party is just so brazen in their attempt. There's no hiding it. This is what we're doing. This is what we're attempting to do, which is, as now we've been talking about for a couple of weeks, rig the system.
So as this post right here so eloquently states, we are currently in a time period right now where Democrats are about to rapidly find out how the American people and the American citizenry specifically actually feel about them when Dems do not have the power to win elections off of the backs of gerrymandering and the incorrect electoral apportionment of their illegal alien populations. It truly is quite poetic to witness, because thus far we've been extensively covering the Texas redistricting battle and how the Democrats are essentially saying that it's okay for them to gerrymander, it's okay for them to do partisan redistricting, but the moment that Republicans counter it and actually make the balance of power more fair in the elections and more representative of like equal apportionment in America, what are they saying? It's rigged. We're going to lose the midterms because of this. So telling. But apparently we have a brand new update, because not only is Trump seeking congressional redistricting, but he is now calling for something that was long overdue, which is the correction of the 2020 census on two different fronts. First of all, he's arguing that illegal aliens should not count in the census when it comes to apportioning electoral votes, because after all, they're not even supposed to be in this country. The elections are supposed to represent the citizens. So why should illegal aliens count to, say, the electoral college votes of California and how many House seats they get? I think that argument is completely fair. But this is also drawing to question the very errors that have been publicly admitted to by the so-called independent commissions that Democrats worship so much in the 2020 election, where essentially Democrat states were overcounted and red states, specifically Texas and Florida, were undercounted, which really shows you actually how overwhelming the 2024 election was, because in many senses it was literally not fair, and yet we still blew them out. But again, huge reality check into how this country actually feels, assuming this all goes through. You see CNN, for instance, and others having a huge meltdown about this, but they're really facing the reality check, which is much like the gerrymandering debate and the thing over redistricting. Actually, the Trump movement is correct about this. Democrats have been trying to lie and gaslight and project 100%. That's exactly what they're doing for so long, and it's now getting busted. So in today's video, I want to tell you about this whole situation going on with the census, as well as give you a brief update on the ridiculous behavior that Democrats are engaging in over this redistricting fight. We'll get into it. First, though, folks, as usual, do us a favor. If you enjoy our content, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Subscribing here, guys, is not only the best way to support our videos, but it also ensures that you can stay up to date with all of the latest news and coverage. We're almost at 500,000 subs. Help us get there. Smash that red button. With that said, we have even more ridiculousness. I want to start here by pointing out what Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is going on about, because, of course, as many Texas state legislators right now have fled to Illinois, and many conservatives are obviously pointing out the sheer irony in that. They're trying to protest gerrymandering by going to arguably the most gerrymandered state in this entire country. That's exactly what Illinois is, right? You look at this Democratic district that they drew in a skinny little line out of the red area of the state. Even zoom in on what inner city Chicago, actually the Chicago area, I should say, actually looks like. It's pretty ridiculous. But you have Pritzker here, guys, claiming after approving this congressional map, okay, and this is again just the sheer dishonesty, the shamelessness, the projection of these people, hence why I don't take any of them seriously, right? I've said in our past several videos about redistricting, I totally reject Democrats' calls for a nationwide ban on gerrymandering or independent commissions across the board because I know these people. I know this is exactly what they're talking about. They're basically making the argument that keep allowing us to gerrymander, but we'll do it under the guise of a independent commission that we entirely support. So here you have absolute moron Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker saying he's absolutely in favor of eliminating partisan gerrymandering here. Yeah, you're in favor of eliminating this, really. And then goes on here, guys, to argue that Illinois' maps are fairly drawn. Okay, just look at that. That's fairly drawn. According to J.B. Pritzker, 14 Democrat seats, only 3 Republicans in a state that Kamala only won by 11 points. Take a listen here to the ridiculousness. And this, I think, goes to show you why we ought to completely reject all of their crying and virtue signaling about it. Again, these people are dishonest. They're morons. They're idiots. And go full steam ahead, not just redistrict, but this also serves as yet another justification to why we should make the elections truly fair by fixing the census. Take a listen.
Okay, so it seems I'm not the only one that has an audio issue. I mean, Vince Dow is on YouTube. He's trying to play this video, and for some reason, he's lost the audio. He's probably hearing it on his headphones. I'm not sure what kind of a glitch this is with live streaming, but I wish the video that he was sharing did have closed caption on it. But at any rate, we're not sure what J.D. Pritzker is saying, Democrat from Illinois, but I'm sure he's moaning and groaning and complaining about.
Really? Are you serious right now? In a state where everyone knows Southern Illinois is the more conservative part of the state, you drew a squiggly line to count Springfield and Champaign, the state capital, so that way you could eke out a Democrat district in the Republican part of the state. It's fairly drawn, according to J.B. Pritzker. I guess we can just say anything now, to which I say, okay, then why are Texas's maps not fairly drawn? But again, guys, I want to reiterate this. This is why blatantly, okay, put it on the record, I completely disregard and reject all these so-called Democrats support independent redistricting, right? We would support a nationwide ban on gerrymandering. Well, if the standard here, according to your own politicians, is that this is not gerrymandering, but what Texas is doing is, then no deal on that front, okay? Just utterly insane. These people are so shameless. And again, that's why I say you got to go full steam ahead. So what you're rapidly realizing, as I said again, is that when Democrats actually have to face fair national elections, they know they're going to get destroyed. That's why when Republicans do partisan redistricting in response to Democrat partisan redistricting, they claim then it's not fair. And now you have the battle over the census, which is another way in which Democrats are holding on to excessive amounts of House control. It could have made a difference potentially in the 2024 election if it was closer. It might make a difference here in 2028, which is why today President Trump has announced that he has instructed our Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census based on modern day facts and figures, and importantly, using the results and information gained from the presidential election of 2024. This is very important, though. People who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And guys, why is this so important? Well, obviously, right? Illegal aliens, I don't think I should have to explain why they should not account for electoral apportionment. You obviously have high illegal alien populations in California specifically. New York is another example. And by the way, you could even make the argument, I mean, I'm sure Texas and Florida have decent amounts of illegals because they're just bigger states. Texas is on the border, etc. But here is also the important aspect of this that we shouldn't miss, because it's not just about the Electoral College, it's about House districts. And when you look at where illegal aliens congregate, it is is overwhelmingly in places like Los Angeles, which not only inflates the population of California, but inflates the population of the local area, which means you can draw out more congressional seats there, right? You can have a bunch of them in LA, you can have a bunch of them in Chicago, which are obviously blue strongholds. That way you get more Democrat districts. So that's very important to point out. It's not just a macro issue when it comes to the Electoral College or the number of House seats, for instance, that a state can get. It's even down to the details in how many blue seats can you draw out. And again, it should be an issue of fairness, right? Elections should obviously represent the citizens of this country who are allowed to vote in them, not a bunch of invaders who don't even belong here and, of course, are here illegally. But why is this causing so much panic? Because as we have all the situations right now, where first of all, you have Republican states like Texas, potentially Ohio and Florida to come, trying to redistrict. You also have the Supreme Court weighing and hearing a case right now that would eliminate the legally mandated race-based gerrymandering that is mandated by the Voting Rights Act. We've covered that extensively. But to make a long story short, that's a policy that forces a bunch of Democrat districts to be drawn in states like Alabama and Louisiana for like basically no reason, right? It's literally gerrymandering. But keep in mind, again, Democrats do not support abolishing that kind of gerrymandering that is legally mandated and helps them. No, it's only when Republicans do it that it's so bad. But of course, you add on top of that, Trump, if he does manage to successfully redo the census with no illegal aliens, this could result in Democrats losing about 20 to 40 House seats across the board. And to make a long story short, barring some type of huge landslide victory, it's very unlikely that they would ever even be able to really hold power again unless they radically transform and change their party, not put this veneer on. Look, we're the same Trump deranged idiots, but we're, brand new all of a sudden because David Hogg is in charge or something like that. It's worth noting as well, you look at the future census, right? This is even if we don't manage to get this one done, this is what Democrats are looking at in the next decade. Florida is estimated to gain 4 seats, Texas 4 seats, California will likely lose 3, New York will lose 2. This would result in Republicans gaining overall about 10 electoral college votes, and I don't think I need to spell out the math as to why. That is a disaster. It would make the race to 270 obviously a lot easier on that front. You can see here another projection stating that it could collectively cost Democrats about 32 to 42 House seats in a worst case scenario. Yeah. I mean, look, you already look at 2026. It's already on track to be pretty competitive. But even then, right? Maybe even look back to 2024 and 2022 when obviously Republicans underperformed, it felt like. And obviously, I'm not here to make excuses for that. I think that obviously there are genuinely a lot of systemic problems in terms of the Republican Party's ability to turn out voters when Trump is not on the ballot. But now when you revisit that at the same time, it's like, okay, when Trump carried the national election in such a huge fashion for modern standards, why was the Republican House majority so slim? Maybe it's because of behavior like this, right? Democrats literally rigging the game, and we're now on track to fix it, guys. If you do not believe me, I mean, just take a listen to Stephen Miller explaining how big of a difference this would make if we, first of all, take illegal aliens out of the census, but also, as we'll explain in a second, even that aside, fix the genuine apportionment and counting because it was massively screwed up in 2020.
Illinois, Chicago, New York, Massachusetts. Democrats have gerrymandered the vote beyond recognition to try to maintain their advantage in the House elections. On top of that, let's not forget, Democrats rigged the 2020 census by including illegal aliens. Remember, they sued Donald Trump. They sued the administration. They fought tooth and nail to include illegal aliens in the census. 20 to 30 of House Democrat seats wouldn't exist but for illegal aliens. Texas is taking just a small corrective step against this ocean of fraud, this ocean of abuse by the corrupt Democrat Party, Sean.
And, I really have to say that watching all of this right now has to make you rethink everything about our politics for the past several years, especially under the Trump era. In terms of the actual popular support of Democrats, how many people are truly liberal Democrats in this country and who are not? because it's always felt like until very recently, until November, that we were always the minority, right? The conservatives were kind of fighting this uphill battle. But what I think you're rapidly starting to find out, and truly, I mean, think about that for a second, changes your entire viewpoint over the past several years of our politics in terms of, no, all along, actually, Democrats were basically winning and winning by the margins they were because the game was not actually fair, right? The census wasn't being done correctly. You had this partisan redistricting. They were obviously gerrymandering. You, of course, have the issue of the race-based mandates by the Voting Rights Act that we covered. Revisit something like the 2022 midterms and ask yourself, wait, was that really like a Republican underperformance? To some degree, yes. But on top of that, how much of it was actually a fair election? Right? I'm not even arguing right now about things like voter fraud. I'm just arguing based on how the system works, how much Democrat support in this country and their supposed population and even things like their GDP and economic growth is fake. It's not real. It's a lie bolstered by illegal immigrants. Well, if you don't believe me here, guys, take a listen to this recent statement by New York Democrat Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, who, of course, said the quiet part out loud, admitting indeed, and we've known this, but it's kind of crazy to hear Democrats say it outright, that they need migrants, illegal aliens in their districts for not just the political power, not just like the capital of getting supporters and all that, but actually for the population purposes, right? For actually drawing census house districts in order to get more and deeper blue Democrat seats, right? What I brought up earlier about how illegal aliens affect how the seats are drawn because of population. And here you have them admitting it themselves. So guys, if you don't want to believe that what Trump is weighing right now is a big deal, here are Democrats themselves admitting how important it would be for the balance of power.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. We have a diaspora that can absorb a significant number of these migrants. And when I hear colleagues talk about, the doors of the inn being closed, no room in the inn, I'm saying, I need more people in my district just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here.
And there you hear her say it outright. She needs more illegal aliens in her district for redistricting purposes.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there, folks. I'm at the 16-minute mark. This is a 23-minute video. There's about 7 minutes left in this video if you want to see the rest of this. But it's great information, and he's pretty much talking about the same stuff, how Democrats, it's okay for them to redistrict. It's okay for them to cheat. It's okay for them to lie. It's okay for them to break the law. Okay? But you let a Republican do lawful redistricting, then, that's the end of our democracy. Now, I would really like to know what the Democrat definition is, democracy. I think that's where we're in charge. What we say goes, what you say doesn't matter. I think that's what the definition of Democrat democracy. All right, as you can see, this does come from Vince Dow. I am subscribed to his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here and close out the chats again and slide down here and remind you folks that these videos that I share with you come directly from the producers, okay? I don't get any commissions or royalties for sharing this information out. But I do like to put together a nice little package for you. A variety of information, a variety of producers. I have the links to the videos right here in the description box, as well as the links to their channel. So, if you want to see what else Dr. Steve Turley is doing, just come down here. Dr. Steve Turley is the producer of this video. The link to this channel is, you click on it, and guess where it takes you? Oh, Dr. Steve Turley. That's amazing. It's amazing how that works. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and copy these chats into a comment, because when this live stream goes away, these chats just kind of vaporize. So if you still got a few moments left, folks, before I end the live stream, if you'd like to put a chat in there for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. But I'm going to go ahead and put these in a comment. And There we go. And, oh, let me close that out. Put this in a comment. Yes, oh man, it's got all wide on me here. There we go. Boop. Turns green. Very nice. Very nice. And in the description box here, I do have a link to the morning kick. If you might need to do a refresh because I went and updated this as the live stream. That's one of the things that I like Rumble Studio, because I can go ahead and play a video, share a video with you, and then I can do other things to get ready for the next video or whatever, or to update my description box while you're watching that video. It doesn't interrupt what you're watching. But let's jump over here and to Murtech.com. These videos that I shared with you are videos that I've posted on Murtech.com. Okay, right down here is the video from Vince Dow that I shared with you. Up here's the video from Dr. Steve Turley that I shared with you. Okay, I have over 55 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos. Here's the video from Awaken with JP and Benny Johnson. This is your one-stop shop for information that you're not going to get on the mainstream media. Okay, but as I said, I have over 55 videos here, and the link to Murtech.com is in the description box also. But I don't have time to share all of them with you on this 1 hour podcast. But I do have coming up about 9:30 my daily news wrap up, where I have over 70 videos in my playlist right now. I'm going to go back and update that playlist, get my video ready for broadcast about 9:30. So go ahead and take a break, grab a cup of coffee and a donut, or grab a sandwich and a soft drink or a beer. Meet me back here at 9:30, and we'll start our daily news wrap up, where I have information from Megyn Kelly and Vince Dow, Devory Darkins, Dr. Steve Turley, Charlie Kirk, a ton of different pundits that will give you the information that took place throughout the day. So, with that being said, number one, I do want to thank you for spending your time with me this evening. I greatly appreciate that. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.